Welcome to Monday's ep of Footy Talk. Gorden Tallis. My name is Elliot Lovejoy. Gordy. The West Tigers in a bye, still somehow dominating the news headlines.
Yeah.
Too many chefs in the kitchen. Walsh could be out of Origin 3. We'll get there. But breaking today, Ben Hunt, we all thought he'd be off to the Broncos this week. It looks like he'll play for the Dragons. That release has been blocked.
Well, there's a lot of twists and turns yet to go. You think the Dragons, with the pressure they've been under pretty much all year, right? So in the off-season, they were sacking coaches. Ben Hunt come out and said, can you support us? And Ben Hunt obviously fired the first bullet through Origin. Timing, I thought, was a little bit off because, you're not wearing the red and white V and you're not with your teammates. You're protected by, the juggernaut of Origin, right? And then he's gone back into clubland. They had a poor performance the other day, and now this is where it will play out. But they'll both play tough for a while.
Yeah, but
they both will play tough, but they won't have the balls to sit out a year or make him sit out a year.
But, I feel for the Dragons fans in this instance. There's signs all about on Friday night saying, Ben, I know a good removalist. I'm ready for you to move on, that kind of thing. The fans that, if I've got a player at my club that doesn't want to be there for whatever reason, I'm not saying Ben Hunt's in the wrong for wanting to go, I'd see ya. Thanks for being here.
The more I read and listen and watch and the more experience I get with this, the more I think both parties are right?
Yeah.
Because you look at the Tigers on the Luke Brooks situation, they've shopped him around everywhere. Clubs get rid of players all the time, and no one has a comeback. They get tapped on the shoulder. Off of Hengawi the other day. So there's players all the time they get tapped. We can't do it. We work with a bloke by the name of James Graham. Got moved on from the Dogs. He's an international. He's played 400 games. So that doesn't discriminate. So what side are you on? Are you on the club or that? But there's rules and there's loopholes. So now I would love to see Villani's, who I think he's been our best leader ever in a game of rugby league, and I would like him and Abdo to maybe change the rules so it gets taken out of the club's hands. But just let's make the rules by thinking about the fans, thinking about the future of the club, the fans, what's happening.
Because even if you're running the Dragons and you're wanting to play hardball, and I understand Ben Hunt's been your best player for however many years, you don't want to lose him. But you didn't get the best of him Friday night against the Warriors. You're not going to get the best of him if he plays for you this Thursday. And again, you go back to the fans. If I'm turning up to watch that team at the moment, I just want to see Sullivan and Sullivan, who's probably the 7 in the future for them unless they go shopping. I want to see him get the best opportunity there. Whereas at the moment, this holding pattern doesn't help anyone.
Well, the experience I've got out of life, and especially sporting teams, if they get around in small little circles, which they would be now and talking about it.
Yeah.
So the young kids wouldn't, because they'd be like, oh, there's the old guys, and the old guys are going, well, what's happening?
Yeah.
And the guys that have played like a lot more, the small groups are cancerous. You just can't have them in a club.
Yeah. So
winners have parties, losers have meetings, and at the moment they'd be sort of talking, and there'd be, these teams within the teams, which is no good for the Dragons moving forward. So I do feel sorry for the Dragons in this instance, because they've got no other option either to make him sit out a year, and they've got to pay him, or he can just play reserve grade and kick tins down the road, or they get rid of him.
Do you think this is going to be every week? Do you think it's going to be a fight?
Well, that's what I don't like about it.
Yeah. Every Monday it's going to be a...
So then it can be the next high-profile player, right? And then I said out here, and this is not about me sitting out here. This is about the game. This was about the Dragons fans that go there, and then their club showed a bit of spine, right? I was at the Dragons when they carried a coffin around with our CEO's name on it. So the fans were that disgruntled. I've seen them burn stuff. They burn their memberships, and you watch in America how they burn their jerseys with like certain players. These are the rusted-on fans. These are the ones that they come every week and pay their hard-earned, and that's pretty much where you get most of your money from, and then there's the corporates and the sponsors. But, I'm sort of more on the fan side, but how do we protect them? How do we protect them moving forward? So the clubs can't, right? Because the clubs need to move forward. So the clubs been saying, I don't want to be with you anymore. Yeah. So how does that work?
I feel like we're going to Vegas on this one, but if you were there, you had to choose red or black. Do you think Ben Hunt's at the club in a month, or do you think...
I don't think he is.
Okay. And you think he's in Brisbane for the rest of the year?
I think it's... No, this is the sad part.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to money for him.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm unhappy. It's going to come down to who pays him the most.
Right.
That's the sad part. If you're that disgruntled, right, you just walk away.
And round 1 next year, is he in the 7 for the Titans?
And the game... no, I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
It comes down to money. So he wants his... Mate, I know the Titans can't pay him what he's on now.
Okay.
from what I understand.
Even because I saw that today, and I know it's little money, but they're moving on a couple of players. Cruz Lemming's one of them. He's heading back to the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to move on $1 million player to get $1 million player. Right?
Right.
You can't move on a $100,000 player and sign $1 million player, can you?
No, but they're moving on a couple of their.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm sure everybody's going to shuffle their decks.
You know more than you're letting on.
No, I don't.
No.
I know nothing.
Okay.
I didn't even know Desi was going there.
I'm not touching that. Yeah.
I've actually banned my wife from the bedroom, mate, because basically, mate, I'm on 360. I need stories now.
Yeah.
No, but like everybody starts to move their players on. Like, and I know it sounds funny in the Ben Hunt situation. Like you see, like what we heard was the Roosters, and then Lodge goes, who's on a bit of money. Then they talk about a few other players that have been asked that they can, look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And they're the best at shuffling their decks. They're always in a review. Like everybody teases the Roosters.
Okay.
But they're always in a review. You know what I mean? So they're always, how do we get better? Who do we need to move? And they're always moving the deck chairs.
Yep.
A lot of other clubs can't for some reason.
Let me ask you this deal that you know nothing about with Hunt potentially at the Titans next year. If it's a 2-year deal. If he goes
no one would have heard of the Titans
Yeah.
unless Ben Hunt said, and then the Broncos
Yes.
said, well, we can't afford him. Dolphins said no, and the Cowboys said no.
But if
there was only one team left. So that's why the focus has gone on the Titans. And now they probably feel like, oh, well, our fans are asking, can we afford him? And that's as probably deep as can we afford him?
Yeah.
What does he want?
You find a way. If he ends up there and you got him and Foz in the halves next year, you got Brimson at fullback, Verrills, who is probably one of the most underrated nines in the comp, can they win it next year?
They'd have to have a bit of luck.
Yeah, okay.
They'd have to have a bit of luck. Oh, well, and how much Pereira improves young Fafita on the wings and Sam and Philip Sami and, with Brian Kelly and Shop or whatever, there would have to be a bit of luck.
Okay.
You would think. But that's a real nice surprise, isn't it, to have that spine, because it can. So when they talk about a spine, when they talk about a great number 7, what they can do is turn a poor set of 6 into a good set of 6 with a kick or, just moving the ball around. So, of course they would become, well, you would definitely say that they're a top 8.
Yeah.
And if things go their way and they get through Origin, then you say you're top 4. Once you're in the top 4, then it's about momentum.
All right, well, watch this space. No doubt on Footy Talk tomorrow there'll be another twist in the tail.
This is the most intelligent footy talk I've ever done.
Are you switched on today? Is that what it is? You didn't have a beer
asked
last
a
night?
hard question. No. Oh, of course I did. Well, I was at the airport. Chicka White. So the producer.
Yeah.
He was sitting out, because we flew down here. So he was at the airport, the poor little bugger. So I got him into the Qantas Club. So he had his little apple juice.
He said he got you in there.
So we had his apple juice and pancakes, and the big boys had a beer.
Here we go. Babysat your kid too. All right. Reece Walsh, potentially in danger of missing Origin 3 if this goes the wrong way for him. Now, yesterday during that game against the Titans, he was penalised. A bit of audio that the Broncos players are saying was taken out of context. Does sound like he called the referee an F&C.
Obstruction. Go again. You go to the. Shut up. Adam, he'll go next one.
Now, what I will say first, that whether it was directed at the ref or not, I actually thought the referee took every bit of emotion out of that and handled it probably as good as I've ever seen, in that he gave the warning, he gave the extra 10 metres and moved on with the game.
Yeah. I'm going to start by saying I'm a huge fan of Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
Massive fan. A couple of things that he's doing, pointing to the scoreboard in State of Origin. I like when he got sent off and he pointed to his jersey.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, oh, well, that's a bit of a wanker. But Josh Adokar did it first. Josh Adokar got sent off and pumped his jersey when he was getting pumped by 30 points, right? So Reece is one off beside him, and they all look at the screen. I tell you one thing about the players these days. They know when they're on the big screen.
Yeah.
So Reece, I like that. This is Queensland. He did it for New South Wales. I like that. I don't like the standing behind your teammates and chirping out a play. Face to face, say whatever you want. So the Luai thing, I don't have a problem. Luai headbutt him here. I don't have a problem with that. You're standing right in the face.
Yep.
Mate, you're at the coal face there. But standing behind, and then Reece Walsh, if he did label it, but even to another player, right? Go up to him, beat him with actions, because that's how he got to this situation where he was beating him with actions. He's young.
Yeah.
Don't keep on doing it, because there's reasons why we don't like certain players.
Is he in strife with the match review committee? Do you think?
No, because they said that they didn't call the referee. Trust me, I've been in that seat.
Yeah.
I directed it at him. He knew it was him.
Yeah.
I think if the referee knew that he was getting called that, I reckon he goes to the bin. But I thought the referee handled it perfectly.
Yep.
I've always said I'm not a massive fan of mics.
Yep.
That does not help our broadcast. That does not help anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the game would flow a lot better because I remember when I first come in and you make a mistake and you're blowing up and everybody's swearing, the referee go, hey boys, you get the next 50-50.
Yep.
Do you know what would happen? The frustration's out of us. We're going to get the next 50-50. We get on with our job.
Yep.
They can't say that. They can't say now, hey, mate, you'll get the next call. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what used to happen. And then some referees were really quick. Goes, mate, you're making more mistakes than me.
Yeah.
Go away. And they say, so like there was a great banter with like refs sometimes teasing you because you'd make a mistake. Go, shit, you're having a shocker today. Mm-hmm. And it was like, hey, but just imagine that now, like that banter. And then Alf and that talking to the referee and, mate, you got on TV now, go home, mate, your mum saw you and all this kind of stuff. I liked that banter, and I reckon there was a better relationship between the players and the refs then because no one could hear it. And then if you stepped over the line, the ref sent you. And he goes, no, just like that. And everybody goes, oh, well, he must have said something bad.
All right, well, Reece Walsh, I mean, watch that space. He's become enemy number one for New South Wales fans.
So,
that's short.
good.
You know what they do need to sort out? Josh Addo-Carr's thrown the worst punch that Origin's ever seen. Georgie Rose, his boxing promotion, I know he's always looking at the big boppers, needs to get the little fellas in there. A Walsh Luai beat up at the end of the year. I know these blokes shook hands at the end of Origin. I would pay upwards, well, I got no money, but I'd use your cash to buy a ticket to that event to sit front row. Luai, Walsh.
Who's your money on?
Oh,
you saw Walsh walk in.
I don't know if anyone would
Vegas.
land a punch.
So Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Josh Addo-Carr, right? He's
No, I'm saying Luai Walsh.
Mate, his grandfather, the famous Wally Carr, right? One of the great boxers.
Right.
Indigenous boxers.
Yes.
Josh, I don't think he taught Josh how to throw a punch.
No, Josh didn't pick up his talents, no.
No, he missed by a postcode. He missed by the Fox. The Fox missed by a postcode, brah.
But I love that. Maybe an Origin boxing event, end of season. We pick our favourite 3 rivalries from the series. So we got a couple of the big boppers that are head to head. We got, say, Luai and Reece Walsh and whoever else it might be.
It'd be cool, mate. It'd be funny.
Do it for charity.
Yeah.
Squash some beef.
No, no.
I forget you do nothing for free. All right.
No. If you're jumping in the ring, right? So this is one thing. It's going to go with you forever.
Yes.
So no matter what happens, I think if you step in a boxing ring, there's no charity in a boxing ring.
But half of it can go to charity, mate.
There's not. What?
If you're getting, say, I don't know, let's say I'm just spitballing money, $10,000 for a fight, $5,000 can go to a charity. A great Queensland charity and a great New South Wales charity.
Yeah, but what if he's going to get $500,000?
Well, then half of that can go. I think they'll be okay with $500,000. I don't think these players will struggle with $500,000.
Then for the rest of their life, they say, mate, they get...
Just for boxing. If you're getting punched in the face by choice, I think it's fair enough. All right. Anyway, the West Tigers, Gordy, a lot of chefs in that kitchen. Here's what I don't understand is they've got a coaching staff where essentially they have 2 to 3 head coaches. Tim Sheen's obviously in charge, Benji there too, and Robbie Farah steering the ship.
No, you can't have 3 heads. Queensland's got 2. They can't have 3.
Okay,
all the Tigers have 3 heads. Yeah. Is that what you just said?
No, I did not say that. I said they've got 3 head coaches.
Listen here, mate. I think you just had a Dobbo moment.
No,
you said they got 3 heads.
Mate, you had a Gorden Tallis moment of giving us nothing on the Ben Hunt news at the Titans, so we're 1 for 1. All right. They've also got Scotty Fulton that they've brought in to be their head of recruitment. And what I don't understand is it looks like on paper, like they've taken a little bit of power away from Sheensy, from Benji, and Benji is apparently not real happy.
Well, that's a strange one, right? Because the board has been under all sorts of trouble, like Pascoe and Lee, because of where the club was going. And then now they try to flex a bit of muscles by going and picking, like a talent scout or like a development officer.
Yep.
Where I find it strange. And now the only thing that's going to happen is the coaching staff are going to, because they get the last say. So what it should be is some sort of committee, like a recruitment committee. Yep. They go, what areas are we weak on? What areas do we need to improve? What areas are we strong where we need to give that? They bring 2 or 3 players. They tick off on one.
Yeah. Well,
so it looks like that they've been trying to. So they're getting shopped. Schuster.
And apparently Benji does not want a bar of it.
Not for that price.
No. $800K for a bloke that we've probably seen dominate one game.
What, a full game?
We've probably seen him dominate one game, yeah.
A full game.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah, right. So I'm on the coach's side because they're the ones that they can't have all the power, right? So you see at some clubs, when they have all the power, you can see what what can happen to the roster because it's a result-driven business and they'll get, mate, if you keep on giving them shiny toys, they're going to keep on taking them.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a balance. Like, there's got to be a balance. But at the end of the day, with the 3 coaches there, they got to have a say on their talent that they want to coach. They know the style that they want to coach. They don't just get shopped. And I just think, watch the space because now you see the board trying to flex their muscles.
Yep.
Right? And you get the coaches who they've put in, who once they put those guys in, no one's spoken about the board. So then they've been able to do a half-decent job because Benji, Robbie and Tim Sheens have kept everybody away from them.
Yep. Well, I would say too, in before Brooksy getting injured and Appy as well, it did look like they were starting to play that Tim Sheens footy from way back when. And I know some of the Tigers fans are getting excited. Obviously, that Cowboys game is a good example. However, away from it with their recruitment, so Tommy Talau, the centre that's been playing Reggie's, looks like it's going to be a straight swap for Latu Fainu, who is a 5'8", been playing for Blacktown. He's killing it. He's a good pickup. If I'm a Tigers fan, I am concerned though, looking at your Schusters, looking at potentially other Manly players. We've seen this happen with Newcastle. Clint Zammit in front of Queensland would look at a lot of Cowboys players that were, let's say, out of favour. Your Anari Tualas, your Jakey Cliffords. Anari's gone to do a great job down there. Jake lasted, I think, not even, just over a full season. I'd be concerned that is he going to look outside that Manly bubble? Because it looks like he just wants to bring in players he liked from there, Scotty Fulton.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of other teams. Absolutely. But then that's what happens. So it's the style of play because you've picked those players.
Yep.
So you've picked them because you thought they were good. So then you can't not pick them at your new place. So that's the problem. They're going to get all Manly's offcuts now.
And are Manly a successful side at the moment? Arguably not.
No, they're heavily weighted on DCE and Tommy. And when those 2 guys don't fire, it's fair to say Manly don't fire.
Yeah.
And Jake. I can't go without offering Jake. No, look, look, I'm torn on it, but if Luke Brooks was playing at any other club this year in his last 6 weeks, we'd go, oh my God, just wasn't getting coached.
Yeah.
So what Benji and the boys and Tim Sheens have put into him has been outstanding. I think it's been Luke Brooks' best season thus far.
Yeah, I'd agree
and
with
he's
that.
closed the critics. But then all of a sudden, mate, we don't want you. Yeah. Like when the marriage starts to look good and it looks like that it's a 2-way street. So I don't know what's happening at the Tigers. That's where you scratch your head, and that's why I got no hair.
The chefs in the kitchen stuff, though, again, with your Benjis, your Sheensy, your Robbie Farah, and then Scotty Fulton there as well.
It's a 3-hat restaurant. Is that what you're trying to tell me? A Michelin star?
I'm not saying that, no. Look at Wayne Bennett when he went to the Dragons. I know Wayne had the runs on the board as a coach, but Sheensy does as well.
I'm going to tell you something about that. Wayne Bennett told me that Nathan Brown left that place in unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he was going to give him a bit of credit.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Right.
But he was going to say that where the club was left, and he even told Brown, his old man, too. Because they were this far away from it. Yeah. They were that far. I think they got beaten Barrett, and the boys played down here at the old SFS, and the Dragons were so close to winning a grand final. They were this far. So Wayne just brought in, I think Neville Costigan and two other players. Like
Wayne said to the board, I have to do this my way. And to their credit, and they would have had to put ego aside, they bent the knee and put their swords in the ground and let him go. They won a comp.
Yeah, and that's what's got to happen. But you got to keep a close eye over everything. Of course, the coach lives and dies by it. Yeah, right. They live and die by it, don't they?
100%.
But you got to keep an eye on everything what they do. So I think the management of the roster on the salary cap is certainly the club. You can't you can't let them back end deals to get as many toys in the cot. And I think that's a problem in the game at the moment. That's why so many clubs are getting themselves into trouble.
Well, they've certainly got some injury worries. The Tigers will see how they go this week. Christian Welch, after Melbourne's victory on the weekend. No, I'm a big fan of Welch. I think he's an intelligent man. I think he's definitely going to take both of our jobs combined one day.
No, he's not going to take mine.
I don't know.
He's too polished.
Chica told me differently before. But,
he's too polished.
Yeah,
he can't sit here.
So what you're saying is he's too prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So he's too good. Right. Christian Welch, after Melbourne's game.
He's should be on ABC radio.
Right. I think he's doing telly. I think that's what it is, yeah.
Maybe ABC radio, for the people that might read a couple of books and that.
Anyway, after the game, he's asked his coach Bellamy about the Knights result. I think we have the audio from that.
How did the Knights? Huh? Knights. Yeah. Panthers didn't have anyone.
this didn't have anyone. How did the Knights lose? Now, I saw Newcastle fans on social media unhappy. You know what? It's probably a fair question. That's 3 on the trot.
Hold on. You're a guy that wears Knights.
Yes.
You wear the Cessnock Gwen jumper
Yeah, I
most
do.
of the time.
Yep.
You are a Knights tragic.
Yep.
You might send me text messages when they beat the Titans and
Mate,
call
you
me
always
mate.
initiate that, mate. There's always
Anyway, you
some
call
sort
me
of
names
finger
and all
flipped
that
up at a
kind of
camera.
stuff,
Not
right?
true.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did happen?
In Welsh's presser or the Newcastle game?
The Newcastle game.
Okay. There are.
How did you get beaten
Yeah.
by Penrith's reserve grade?
It's a fair question. The last 2 weeks got beaten by Penrith's reserve grade and the Roosters missing a whole host of players as well. Look, there's a number of things you can point out at Newcastle.
Do you
but,
need a new coach?
well, you got to look at what's available, right? So available with runs
Better
on the
get in
board.
now.
Exactly.
They're starting to run out.
Yeah, well, Desi's gone, but you got Michael Maguire on the open
Yep.
market. John Morris is another name that's been
John
floated
Morris.
as well.
Josh Hannay, who
At the
he's
Sharks,
been a secret guy behind Queensland.
Yeah, well,
for a long,
he's
long,
a name
long
that doesn't get mentioned that Maroon's set up enough.
No, because he's humble and he never puts himself out
He
there.
was like that as a player at the Cowboys too. and on the
Absolutely.
Sharks,
Josh is a great fella. And then you
Yep.
get you get people like Dean Young. You get people
Yep.
like like Rolsey that are all these assistant guys.
Yes.
You don't know.
Look, there's some names
There
out
are
there.
a lot of assistants out there.
But you go back 3 weeks for Newcastle and they take it to arguably the best team in the competition, the Broncos. They lose in the last couple of minutes. So there's nothing wrong with their attack. It must be a mentality thing.
My theory on coaches, you've got to go get someone that's coached.
Right.
And if I wanted to be a coach, now if Gorden Tallis wanted to be a
Yep.
coach, I would go grab an under 15s team,
Yeah.
the juveniles, and get them all the way to under 18s or something. So you go through the problems of them might not wanting to play. They all grow in different sizes, and
Right.
so then you get a mindset on
Yeah.
how to deal with those guys that aren't as mature as an older guy.
Yeah.
And then you go get like the men where you got a 17-year-old playing with a 35-year-old, like a reserve grade
Yeah.
comp, right? Like which is the Queensland Cup or the New South Wales Cup, and you see how much success you have there. But it's got to be at least 6 years of coaching.
Yeah.
Me sitting behind Craig Bellamy.
Right.
I'm running out with his game plan. I'm not there's no mistakes, there's no press conferences, there's no breakups, there's no kids
But
going
Adam
through this.
O'Brien's sat with Bellamy and he's worked with Robinson too.
That's right.
He-
That's what I'm saying. He's assistant coach.
Yeah. But he's taken
Now he's coaching.
he's taken Newcastle to 2 final series. They had one off year. This year, obviously, they're struggling.
Just
a bit.
imagine if he was doing this in under 15s and under 17s and he got this experience.
Right.
And he's not going to say, but how many mistakes you reckon he's made?
Yeah.
In the spotlight.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So they go and sit behind these guys. I'm not saying that they hide, but if I coached at Melbourne Storm, everybody went after a Melbourne Storm
Yep.
assistant coach.
Yep.
I'm not sure on how many of them have gone on to win a competition.
It's probably a fair point. So you're saying Newcastle need to make a change?
I'm just saying, no, just on coaches, right? They keep on going for assistants. I think go for guys that have
Proven.
coached. Like Jason Demetrio is the last guy to do that. You see that Wolfie at at Redcliffe,
Yep.
who has gone
Overseas was amazing.
overseas and coached. He's
Yep.
coached like in a lot of lower grades. I think
Yep.
they're the guys. And then they can sit and get the final touches off of Wayne Bennett or whatever. But
Okay.
you got to be at the coalface. You got to have your own show to become a radio show.
So the ones with the most runs on the board then are Mary, McGregor, and Madge.
Yep.
They're probably
But
the
there
two.
could be someone in the New South Wales Cup.
Okay.
Who's leading a comp that's been there for 5 or 6 years that knows
Yep.
and gets people, because when you got a first grade side, so
Yep.
just say, the Cowboys feeder clubs,
Right.
that guy might have 6 or 5 players in and out every week.
Yep.
It all depends on injuries
Okay.
and state of origin. So I would be more inclined to go get someone that's coached, even at that level, because they've coached.
Not for Newcastle, but one to watch is Carmichael Hunt. He's taken South Logan from bottom of the ladder to top in the Host Plus Cup since he's taken over there. And you speak to any player at South Logan and they
love him.
rave about not only him as a human being, his brain. They say his footy IQ is through the roof.
Carmichael Hunt
Yeah.
played. I played in his debut game.
Yep.
He was 17.
Right.
If you look at it, his first time he touches the ball, we're playing the Warriors, and one of those centers, I think Clinton Torpy flew out to
Right.
smash me, so I've just thrown this lollipop pass.
Hospital.
I'm not
Here you
getting
go,
hit.
kid.
I'm not getting hit. It's round one. Are you serious? So I've thrown this lollipop. Well, Francis Malley has levelled him.
Right.
He bounces up, flicks the ball. Brent Tate runs 20 metres.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, he pushed Shane Webke around. He was slapping him, pushing him. You got to go here, because we were coming home.
Right.
And a 17-year-old barking orders.
Yeah.
at an old timer in the middle of the ruck, that's when I knew that he had it.
Well, certainly name to watch. I think that's just about us done, though. You're going to have the 3 lunatics in with you tomorrow. Woodsy, Wade, and Maroon are going to be joining you. I don't know. Have you heard Woodsy's
That's pretty much
verbatim
like
thing
Penrith
yet?
last week. That was the reserve grade
Right.
running out.
I'll turn it up.
Yeah, mate, that's our reserve grade.
I'm not getting into that either.
No, the
I'd
Tuesday,
like to be
mate, the
employed.
Tuesday
Yeah.
squad's reserve grade.
Oh,
we
for
know
God's
that.
sakes. Anyway, Footy Talk, you can get in touch with the boys too. Send a message on Instagram. You can find us there. We'll talk to you soon.